mind.
Were you?
The idea that she'd come to England and poison Marina.
Close beside her. What were you up to?
I wasn't up to anything.
And what about Vincent Hogg?
The idea that that poisonous old snake could in any way alarm me.
But there was something, wasn't there, Miss Gray? Something that distracted you.
Okay, Inspector. Let me put it like this. I've had quite a tough time recently, but have gradually been getting back on track and am working my butt off. But I still find time to open my house to raise money for charity and to be nice and pleasant to everyone. And they all say the same thing to you, and you say the same thing back, over and over and over again. Have you any idea how boring that can be?
Don't.
But you do it because it's your job. And if at some point you glaze over, then so be it. I haven't the faintest idea what Miss What's-Her-Face was going on about, and I tell you, it couldn't have been that riveting, because I did blank out. For a second, 2 seconds, who cares? I'm human, so sue me!
My only concern, Miss Gregg, is for your safety. An attempt was made on your life by someone on the day of the party. Someone who is quite possibly still here, and who, in the scheme of things, is bound to try again. If you have even the vaguest notion who that person might be, I beg you to share it.
Perhaps you might know something that I don't. And if you do, you really should tell us. For your sake.
But I don't. How many more times do I have to say it? I didn't see it. I didn't hear it. And you're all driving me insane. Now, get out of here, the lot of you. I want to be left in peace.
I think you'd
Yes. Thank you, Miss Gregg. Mr. Rudd?
Any chance of an autograph, Miss Gregg?
Get out!
She's a cracker.
And as we've known each other for centuries, we thought it would be jolly nice to have a portrait taken as a sort of memento.
Friendship's so important, don't you think, Miss Spence?
And having seen you at the party, I thought, very personal.
Expect you've taken lots of famous people, haven't you, Miss Spence?
I'll shoot anyone if we've got the money.
Hold it.
I gather from the press that this woman was poisoned by mistake, that it was in fact intended for Marina.
That's right, sir. The overdose was in Miss Gregg's cocktail.
Miss Badcock spilled her drink, and Miss Gregg gave her hers.
Pretty conclusive, I'd say.
You hadn't seen her for a while,
Not since our divorce, so happy, Derek.
so you didn't mind being ditched for a younger man.
To describe our marriage as a hellish nightmare would scarcely do it justice.
Why are you over here, Mr. Hogg?
For my column, of course. Marina's new film, Nefertiti, God help us, is creating quite a buzz. I would be negligent to ignore it.
Now, Lola Brewster.
Ah, yes. We sort of gravitated to each other as injured parties. She's a sweet girl. Soothingly stupid.
Would it have been a shock for Miss Gregg to see you together?
Oh, yes. Most definitely.
I believe she's told certain friends she's afraid of you, Mr. Hogg.
I wasn't aware she had any friends.
Answer my question, please.
Marina's an actress. What do you expect? She plays up. Why let something go when you can make a 5-act drama out of it?
So she had nothing to be afraid of?
Certainly not me, Inspector. I'm a pussycat.
Of course, we're such big fans of Marina Gregg, aren't we, Jane?
Oh, are you a fan, Miss Spence?
She can certainly act up a storm.
Oh. Oh.
Look at this. Perfect couple.
I thought she was so kind to open her home for the party. And it all went frightfully well, except, of course, for poor Miss Badcock.
I'd very much like to see your photographs, Miss Spence.
I expect you took several of Lola Brewster. Of course, it was just about then that Marina Gregg had that funny turn. Did you notice that, Miss Spence?
You're probably imagining it, Dolly.
Well, I'm probably putting it too strongly, but it did seem for a moment that she looked a little queer. Mind you, I had just knocked back a ferocious martini, so I was probably a bit squiffy.
Oh, well, you got quite lyrical about it.
It's not like me to be lyrical.
You quoted Tennyson, I seem to remember.
Oh, did I?
The doom has come upon me, cried the Lady of Shalott.
Oh, yes, you're right. I do love that poem, don't you, Miss Spence?
Actually, it's curse, not doom, but I know what you mean. So you saw it too, did you?
It's most extraordinary. She's expressing nothing whatever. No fear, no pain.
Do you know, you're absolutely right.
But there's something, isn't there? Something she's seen or thought. You capture her very well, Miss Spence. Had you met before?
Why do you ask?
Oh, because you've worked in America, perhaps.
How do you know that?
I've seen your name in magazines. I thought you may have encountered her in a professional capacity.
I couldn't keep this, could I, for my collection?
Be my guess.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Of course, one can never be sure how reliable these magazines are. I've read, for example, that she has any number of children, and then that she has no children at all. It's all most confusing, isn't it, Dolly?
Utterly.
How many children does she have, Miss Spence?
I haven't a clue.
Haven't you? Haven't you really?
What are you doing here? Someone sent you?
No, we're just here to have our photograph taken, aren't we, Jane?
Are you, Miss Marple?
What other possible reason could there be?
What the hell, it's hardly a secret.
What isn't, Miss Spence?
But I'm one of the children Marina adopted.
Now remember, you're on duty, Tiddler.
Yes, sir.
So for God's sake, don't sit there with your mouth open like a beached cod.
Are you going to ask me lots of horrible questions, officer?
It's Inspector, actually. And I hope they won't be too horrible.
Well, I'm sure they will be. Even though you have the kindest eyes and the cutest smile. You know, gentlemen, I'm sure this whole thing must have been a terrible mistake.
You think so, Miss Brewster?
Oh, yes, it's all such nonsense. As if anyone would want to poison Marina. She's an absolute sweetie. Everybody loves her.
Including you?
I've always looked up to her. She's such a brilliant actress. You know, it's a scandal she's never won an Oscar. Still, she has a year or two left.
Wasn't there a little trouble between the two of you?
Oh, that. It was nothing. She stole my lover. That's all.
Jason Rudd.
Isn't that hilarious? She's old enough to be his mother.
You can't have been too pleased.
Well, I wasn't, but now I see it was the best thing that could have happened. I wouldn't have hooked up with Vinny otherwise.
People say you were pretty furious.
People say all sorts.
Didn't you threaten to shoot her?
Oh, sure. But I didn't really mean it.
Miss Brewster, I have it on very good authority that you said, "That bitch needn't think she'll get away with it. I'll get even with her in the end."
Did I really say that?
I believe you did.
Well, I guess I was a little mad. We all get a little ruffled sometimes, don't we, Inspector? But do you really think I would poison her cocktail within 3 minutes of seeing her again? Really, Inspector, I do think you're being a very silly boy.
She adopted some children once, didn't she?
Yes, but I don't think it worked out so well. I guess it was kind of impulsive. You know, like shopping. You get it home, then you think, oh, boring.
We lived in the East End of London. My mother and 8 of us kids, and she simply couldn't cope. So she did what a lot of women did in her position, and she wrote to the rich and famous, begged them to adopt, and one day she got lucky.
Didn't Miss Gregg also adopt a boy?
Yes. And for a time we lived the most wonderful life. Marina played her part to the hilt.
But she did want children, didn't she?
Oh, yes. She just didn't want us. As soon as she discovered she was pregnant, that was it. All she wanted was a child of her own.
Well, you can't blame her for that.
No. But I can blame her for taking me. And my mother for letting her.
And your adopted brother, what's happened to him?
We drifted apart. He was more resentful. Always said that when he grew up he would kill her baby. And then, of course, she gave birth to that wretched little creature. Perhaps there's justice after all.
You hate her that much?
Why shouldn't I?
Tell me, Miss Spence, was it Marina Gregg who arranged for you to take photographs that day?
She knew nothing about it. I was curious to see her again, and... Do you know what? She didn't even recognize me. I'm going down to Hellingworth Studios to take some production shots. I wonder if she'll recognize me then.